And we're live. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, or good late evening, depending on where you're watching this one from. I want to welcome everybody to today's JB&A Exertus Broadcast Town Hall session. This one's super exciting for me. I'm really pumped to show you the things we're going to show you today. I am joined by two very special guests today, Miss Judy and Miss Nicole from Kiloview Corporation. Ladies, if you would introduce yourselves, say hello to the crowd.
Hi, this is Judy from Kiloview.
Hi, this is Nicole from Kiloview.
Perfect. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you for staying up so super late where you're at and being here with us. It's pretty exciting. Okay, we got a lot to cover today. So really what the goal today is to introduce you to Kiloview Corporation, the company behind some of the world's greatest encoders and decoders on the planet. Now, we're going to do this in a couple of ways. We're going to talk about the new products, the existing products, and of course, the things that are coming, which are really excited. So 3 great categories to kind of chat through today. Specifically with the new ones, there's a lot of great NDI product to talk about. But before we do that, I probably should let you know who Kiloview is as a company. So we're going to jump in a little bit about who they are, where they're from, what they're doing, and the ladies are going to help me with this part because they know it way better than I do. Well, here, let's jump back. So, well, it says it right there, right? Products, company, Q&A. That's how we're going to roll it. Now, as always, if you have questions, type them into the Q&A form. Laura, our moderator, is going to be picking those up and feeding them back to me as we go. So get those questions into us. We will make sure we either answer them at the end or all the way through. Look at that. There's already people asking questions. Oh, nope, that was Laura saying, hey, typing your questions. Perfect. All right, we've got this down. Okay, so timeline on the company. So ladies, the company was founded in 2011. You are developing not just NDI products, but I want to make sure everybody really understands. These are traditional RTMP, RTSP encoders. They're also SRT encoders. They're very diverse product lines, right? So there's a lot happening here. And some of the firsts are in this genre, especially on the NDI side, are coming from, Kiloview, second to NewTek themselves. So a lot of great stuff happening here. You're spread out all over the world. So, wherever you're hearing this message today, you can get Kiloview products in your hands. So, Kiloview is like the Visa card. It's everywhere you want to be. One of my favorite parts about this company, and this is always something for me that when I look for a partner organization, I want them to have more engineering than salespeople, right? And this is one of the parts I love about this is that you have a very strong, not just engineering group, but R&D group, right? You're constantly developing and coming up with new things. So it's a great piece about your company. And then of course the Kiloview media framework. Now, Nicole or Judy, can you help us understand this portion here, the media framework a little bit?
Yes, actually, this shows the Kiloview philosophy: any in, any out, and anywhere. So from this framework, you can see we can take any in. That means the SDI or HDMI or whatever the baseband signal, you can put them in. And not only the baseband, you can take in all the IP streams like the NDI or SRT or RTMP, RTSP, TS over UPP or whatever. And based on Kiloview media framework, we can output you all those kind of NDI or SRT, the IP streams, the RTSP, RTMP, or SDI or HDMI for decoding. And of course, if you want to do the cross conversion, like the protocol conversion, like the transcoding or whatever, you can choose our media gateway, our software solutions for streaming service or for recording playback with all those kind of functions. So we just take any in and any out. And for anywhere, that means based on our software solutions like IMS, no matter where the sources are and no matter where the devices are, we can manage all those together and doing all those kind of switching and conversion. So that means we have not only the hardware solution, but also software solution.
Perfect. And was there anything that you wanted us to know about the company that we didn't cover in those first couple slides?
I think, yeah, most of the points we have covered that I think we can just put a little bit more information about Kiloview. We just, we build all the products based for IP video transmission. So all our solutions are around IP-based video transmission and streaming or whatever. So we have different products covering SDI or HDMI to H.264, H.265, or NDI with different network types, with Ethernet, with Wi-Fi or 4G, bonding, or even 5G, and also for the resolution from HD to 4K, from 3G SDI to 12G SDI. So we are providing a kind of versatile solutions for AV over IP. And also, we have quite a lot of different types, like the standalone units or rack mount units for the professional applications. And also we can provide functions like the, for cropping, recording, the overlay for whatever. So it's very professional and also it's very versatile.
Nice. So a lot of great companies are using Kiloview products already, and that continues to grow over time. Now, I mentioned early on that, I think one of the people who are coming to Kiloview most recently probably know them for their NDI products because they've got a great selection of NDI products. However, they also make NDI HX products, which are a little harder and more rare to find, SRT, and then the multi-gateway products, the multi-collaboration products, the video converters. So it is a very diverse organization in terms of the different types of products. And so I just want to make sure everybody knows there's more to Kiloview than just NDI. However, that is probably one of the most exciting parts of all. So now, if you don't know NDI, NDI is really, it is a network protocol for moving content between locations around your building. It is just a beautiful way to manage media content, especially camera content, right? Cable-free, low latency, high image quality. It's got all these things without the need for SDI and HDMI cables strung everywhere. So great, great product. And part of that is, obviously 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, there was an announcement on NDI 5, and it's the next great leap in NDI. Tons of new features in it, but most importantly, we now have a full NDI 5 converter hitting the market, and this is coming from Kiloview in form of the N6. So this is the product we're going to start with this morning. It's a brand new encoder. Now, I said encoder, that was a mistake. It's also a decoder. So this is encoding, decoding in a single package. It's HDMI. And it's 1080p. So this is not a 4K version. This is a 1080p version. It's got a couple great features on it we can talk about, right? So obviously the big tally light that's flashing green right there in front of you. You've got your HDMI inputs and outputs. You'll also notice audio inputs and outputs. So if you're using this in encode mode, we can bring audio in and encode it into the NDI stream. If you're using it in decode mode, we can bring audio out. And then in addition to that, there's a great new feature. If you notice down in the lower right-hand corner here, there's a headset adapter for the new the new telecom feature, the new intercom feature that's being added into this product line. So we've got the nice little intercom setup there. So lots happening, and there's also some other great features here. So USB support on the front of this gives you PTZ control or audio intercom. So this is, we're going to talk a little more about that one in just a quick second. So great feature set right out of the gate, but the most important one, as you see on the top of the screen here, NDI and NDI HX encoding. So in one box, we can now achieve both full NDI and NDI HX. Now, for anybody not familiar with those two terms, full NDI is the full, kind of full bandwidth version of NDI. NDI HX is the more compressed version for people who are mitigating their network issues, right? Maybe you don't have quite as robust a network, or you just want to conserve bandwidth on your network. NDI HX is there to solve that problem on that side. So a little more about the USB portion of this. So the USB now supports a keyboard control for either. So in decode mode, this allows us to switch between different presets, so different sources that we want to decode. And in PTZ control, we can call up camera preset. So if you're using this one in encode mode with a PTZ camera, then we can control that PTZ camera, turn it into an NDI cam, and then control it remotely or locally. A lot of fun there, being able to plug that in. Of course, I mentioned the audio input and output, the audio embedding, and the 3.5mm headset port for communicating between units or back to a main console. We'll get more into the intercom stuff as time goes on. Also, just bear in mind, this is part of a series. So this goes from the N3, which is the 1080p SDI version, the N30, which is the 4K SDI version, we're to the 12G port, and then the N4 and the N40. And all of them have a very similar feature set. These previous generation here do not do NDI HX, they only do full NDI. That would be the main difference between these two sets here, is a full NDI versus NDI HX. And of course, you know, that the first 12G SDI encoder that hit was this one here, really designed for taking those 4K SDI cameras and bringing those into an NDI workflow on that side. Lots of other features. One really important one that I want to come back to is your ability, if you got existing PTZ cameras, or you have a PTZ camera that maybe is only HX NDI and you want to make it full NDI, you have the ability now to plug in a Kiloview encoder and take control of that camera and actually manage that camera just like an NDI camera. And with the new USB port on there, you can obviously use presets, both remote or local to it, to manage that camera as well. So lots of fun there. There are rack mounts available for these, so you can go from as low as 4 all the way up to 10 in a 3RU or 4 in a 1RU and pull these together. Very much easy to do. Or then cold shoe mounting. Okay, now that's the latest ones. I want to talk about the previous release, which is a lot of fun. So I actually have that one sitting right here. We have a great video review on this if anybody's interested. There's also a bunch of YouTube reviewers coming online right now. This is the U40. This is a 4K Ultra HD HDMI to NDI encoder, and this one is a full NDI encoder. So this gives you the full bandwidth NDI. Now, lots of great features on this. So we've got our HDMI input, we've got our USB port for doing the controls that we talked about, like camera control. We can also bring in a USB camera into this and encode it to HX. On the flip side of this one is dual Ethernet ports. And there's a nice feature here where we can bring in a PoE source or output a PoE source, right? So you can use the dual ports there to control local devices as well as sort of extending the network. Often when we hear people talk about their PTZ camera, they've already got an Ethernet cable run to it for control and they don't want to lose that. So with this one, you get that extra Ethernet port that allows you to run that local source and not, you know, and take advantage of that single cable that's going out to the camera. Yeah, and a great comment here, sort of the Swiss Army knife of streaming. Now, one other feature this has that none of the others that I'm aware of do is we can put this on the network and pull an RTMP feed off of a camera and convert it to NDI HX. So we get a lot of value out of this one in terms of all the different types of conversion it can do. Local source, remote source, IP sources. So lots of flexibility in this little tool, and it's very affordable in terms of NDI encoders, especially full NDI encoders. Typical workflow might look a little bit like this. We got a bunch of camera, you know, one of these cameras plugged into it, or an IP camera flowing through it, hitting the network, and then going out to a decoder or directly into your software of choice at that point. Couple different mounting options for this one as well. There is a 1/4-20 on the bottom, and it comes with a little thread mount adapter, so you can mount it directly to a camera on a cold shoe. In addition to that, there is a cradle mount that's available for it that allows you to put it in a bracket if you want to have it more horizontally associated. So a couple different ways this one can mount on a camera or sit inside of a rack. All right, now I want to switch over to some ones that you probably aren't aware of, because remember we mentioned they're more than NDI, Kiloview is. And so this is a good example of other NDI and SRT encoders. So these little guys right here, just from a size standpoint, so you can see how big it is. Not a gigantic encoder. Again, designed to mount on top of a camera. It's got a couple 1/4-20 threads on there, makes it really easy to mount. These particular units you see on the left, the N1 and the N2, are both battery operated. They have internal batteries that can charge up and run this little box for hours at a time. So if you've got a camera that needs to be remote or run around the room, this is a NDI HX encoder, or you know, it does also RTSP, RTMP, UDP, SRT, and HLS in the same box, almost all of them at the same time. But the joy to this one is it can be completely remote. It's got wireless built into it. You can add Ethernet via one of the USB ports, but it's completely battery operated. So there's no need to worry about pulling that extra cable to it to kind of manage it or to power it. So if you're slapping this on a an ENG camera and you want to run around the auditorium, this is your box to make that happen. It comes in NDI version and non-NDI version. It comes in SDI and HDMI version, both 1080p. And then the other two items you see on here are the non-battery operated versions of the same encoder. So these are more just traditional, throw down boxes you can put in a rack or mount next to your source. You can have these in SDI or HDMI. And again, these are both HX encoders. They're not full NDI encoders, but they do support a host of other formats. So just keep in mind, if you've got streaming needs, Kiloview is where you need to look at in general, right? They've got encoders for every flavor under the rainbow. Some pieces that are coming in the future are the S2. Judy or Nicole, do we want to talk about the S2 a little bit, about what's to come?
Yes. The S2 actually is the new 4K HDMI or SDI encoder with dual inputs. Here is, yeah, it is correct. We're showing the correct photo here. It's dual inputs, and for HDMI it supports up to 4K 60 inputs, and for SDI is 3G SDI. And it supports H.265 encoding, and there will also be two versions, either the NDI version and the non-NDI version. If for NDI version, there will be both full NDI and NDI HX as well. So it will be a very, we say, powerful encoder that will be handle all those kind of protocols we usually support. And the most significant difference is we will bring full NDI together. So yeah, let's just look forward to that.
And
the prototype,
are the SDI and the HDMI simultaneous, or is it going to be an either or situation?
Either SDI or HDMI.
So this is going to be a very flexible encoder then, right? So somebody can put one of these in the camp and say, well, if I've got SDI today and HDMI tomorrow, they'll be able to switch seamlessly between those two with just this one encoder. So a good tool to have in your back pocket, sort of solve problems in the moment. And then there'll be an optional wireless module releasing for this as well.
Yes. Considering, in some of the areas, maybe wireless solution will have a lot of compliance restrictions. So we provide the wireless module as a kind of optional module. So you can choose the wireless model or not. You can either add it or not. So if with the wireless one, it will be similar like our P series or the N series will support the 2.4G frequency and also 5.G. Yes, 5.0G.
And a little later this summer for the release of this?
The prototype for evaluation will be released by end of June this month. And for mass delivery, that will be in early August.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
All right, so just to jump on some of the other encoders, again, NDI is not the only story here. It is probably one of my favorite parts of the story, but anytime you're looking for a encoder, H.264, H.265, RT, to hit any of the flavors of the rainbow, we can play the acronym game here with RTMP, RTSP, TS, UDP, SRT, HLS, all the fun things, right? There's an encoder from Kiloview to support that. And they come in a variety of shapes and sizes, very easy to manage on that side. They all have a great web UI for, maintaining them. And there's even several units that come with 4G capabilities for the new bonded server, which is we're going to talk about a little later. But this is the point here, is that there is, these are the most versatile and cost-effective in streaming encoders on the market from both the NDI and the non-NDI standpoint. So very flexible tools to kind of meet a variety of different use cases. Now I want to, hold on here. I'm missing a really important slide that I want to find, which is to talk about one of the other new products. Let me pull that one up real fast. we missed one really important piece. There it is. And this is the other new product that I want to talk about, which is the new rack mount cradle series. So obviously, sometimes encoders need to become dense. You need more of them in a single space. And using the sort of throw down box mentality doesn't always work in terms of cabling, infrastructure, and power. So we want to be able to have some more flexibility with those. So this is the new cradle series that I'm showing on the screen. It's actually sitting right here on the desk with me. I'm going to move these out of the way so we can see it a little bit better. So the cradle series is brand new. It's shipping now for just, I would say about a month or so. We've got plenty of them available. It comes in a couple different forms. So this is the 1RU. There's also a larger versions that hold more slots in the 3RU and 6RU range. And these are hot swappable blades. So now you can configure a encoding array that sort of meets the expectation for what you want, right? So if you're looking for, HDMI and SDI to be in the same rack, we can do that. These have a couple of different versions of their encoders and their decoders. And they also, on the decoder side, there's two models available. That's the equivalent of the 230 and the 300 series. So a couple different versions, but they are completely modular in the idea that we can, keep on screwing this one until I get there. There we go. That if you want to make a change to your rack and to your design, you can release a card and bring in a different version of the encoder and decoder. And you can completely mix and match, right? It can be all encode, all decode. You've got lots of flexibility for how you want to design the system to work in your way. Additionally, now this was not necessarily a new product. In terms of the rack mount, there were a previous generation's product, which was rack mount, but it was all fixed. So they couldn't be interchanged like this. And the power supplies were fixed as well. With the new version, not only are the encoders and the decoders interchangeable, but the power supplies can be hot swapped as well or removed if one goes out or you need to have spares available, all perfectly capable now. So we have redundant power, redundant encoding if needed, and all can be kind of managed. So 4-channel version that you see here, the 16-channel and the 32-channel version are available via special order when we need to get those. The encoders and the decoder cards come in NDI and non-NDI versions of both HDMI and SDI, and these are NDI HX, just for clarification. And then decoder cards, there is an NDI and a non-NDI decoder card as well. So lots of flexibility in this one available now, and just a really exciting product line on that part of it right there. All right, so which probably brings me to talking about decoders. And so I'm gonna, since I put my slides out of order, I'm gonna jump into the decode side. So on the decode side, there's a couple products from Kiloview to look at, the 230 and the 300. The 230 is an SD version, and it will, an HD version, so we can pull SDI or DVI out of it, and you can decode up to 4 channels simultaneously, and then decide which of the signals you want to go out the box. This is a non-NDI decoder, so if you're looking for an environment where you've got SRT or HLS or some other flavor of the rainbow that's not NDI, this is the box that you're going to want to look for. The D300 does support NDI HX as well as all the other flavors and can go all the way up to 4K 60 on the output. So lots of flexibility. And I thought I had that one up here with me earlier, but it is no longer here. We'll look for that in a minute. Just very simply on this one, it's got dual Ethernet ports for redundancy. You got your SDI output and your HDMI on the other side. There is an additional version of this one called the MG300, which supports 2 different outputs simultaneously. So you can output one source on HDMI and another source on SDI, run them that way. But a great little box here and at a very affordable cost, and goes all the way up to 4K. So it gives us lots of flexibility on that one. All right, and one other new product we have to talk about is the multi-viewer. I really want to capture the multi-viewer because we're getting close to our time here. Let me see where I hid that one.
Yeah, nice.
I apologize, everybody. I thought I rearranged these slides, and apparently I didn't do a good job of it.
I think it's at the
bottom of the presentation. Yeah.
Say again?
next.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
close
Go.
to it.
Go.
Next. Next. Yeah.
All right, so one last one that we got to touch on, which is the multi-viewer product that is now available. So this is a free product that you can download on the Kiloview website, and it is a multi-viewer designed to extract multiple NDI signals on the network, create your own multi-view experience, and then send that back out over NDI or just on a monitor. So finally found that slide. I apologize, everybody. So up to 9 streams, we could actually go a little higher than that. You can pull all those in and then create your own NDI feed of those signals, create your own multi-viewer and put it back out on the network. And Judy, that one's very new from you all. This is your first software-only product, is that correct?
I have to say this is the only software that we have released formally and is free. But further, we will have quite a lot of the software products, just like our intercom. Actually, the intercom is coming, and we will provide intercom server that will be a software you can deploy on your own server or a cloud-based. And we will have the IMS to manage all the devices. We will have the NDI routing system to just switch the NDI sources for some kind of applications. So we will have a series of software products.
And all those are coming this year? Is that the hope?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
All right, exciting. Yeah, so the IMS, the management system, all that's coming very, very soon, and we'll continue to talk about those as time goes forward.